Part 169. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 1692. The serial number is wrong, this chapter should be 40. A vampire has to learn to put away her fangs, a vixen has to know how to hide her tail, and as an angelfish, she has to abide by the rules and scrape off the fish scales in order to live for a long time. Unless she wants to be on the news and become a talking point. All kinds of problems troubled the three people. And Wei Yuan is more worried. If old antiques of the generation of the old man of the Wei family are still alive and have participated in the plan to catch angelfish, will they think of it after reading the news and arrest her for research? After scraping the scales, the skin underneath is thin and tender red, with a little blood oozing out, and there will be a burning pain. Wei Yuan took ice cubes and put a cold compress on her to relieve the pain. She was still in pain, and wanted to divert her attention by talking, and asked Wei Yuan, "How can I please Master Huo?" She doesn't feel ashamed to please the rich and powerful. On the contrary, if making Master Huo happy can make Wei Yuan and Huangming's lives better, she will think it's worth it. Just keep it as it is. Wei Yuan lowered his head, covered her ankles with his hands through the ice pack, and said softly, "He likes you, which means there is something he admires in you. If you change your attitude, changed the part he admired, but it was self-defeating. If I don't do anything, will he still like me?" she asked curiously. "Yeah." Wei Yuan nodded and changed the other ankle. "He will like you." The little goldfish said suspiciously, "But how could it be like this? I can make him like it even if I don't do anything, but I can't make you like me even though I have done so much." Wei Yuan was silent when he heard the words. After being silent for a long time, he raised his head to look at her with a rare soft and calm expression. "I like you too, but I am a fickle person. Apart from liking you, I also like money, power, and superior status, so, I like it, just a little bit." She stared at him blankly. Wei Yuan had already lowered his head, stared intently at her wound after desquamation, and said, "Master Huo will like you very much." The little goldfish was confused. She thought for a long time, but she didn't know what to say. Finally, she said softly, "Oh. So this is The physique of the angelfish is different from that of ordinary people, and the wound heals quickly. After a few days, the skin with scales is basically the same as normal skin except for some redness." Huo Qinchong's people came to pick up the little goldfish. Huangming loaded the suitcase into the car, and Wei Yuan explained to the people who came, she had injured her legs and feet when she was a child. Although she was cured, she couldn't walk or stand for too long. Take a few steps less, prepare some daily food for diet, such as sashimi, vegetable and fruit toast, try not to touch oil and salt, if she is thirsty, give her water, and do not drink any drinks, because causing stomach upset. He instructed in every detail, and the other party listened with a smile and was very patient. Huangming clenched his fists under his nose and coughed twice. "Ahem. It's time to leave, right? Don't miss the train." Wei Yuan was slightly stunned, realizing that he had already said too much. He was just a small auctioneer, how could he to give orders to the stewards around Master Huo? Fortunately, the other party did not make things difficult for Wei Yuan, and said with a smile, "Mr. Wei, Mr. Huo will take good care of Miss Jin." Wei Yuan nodded slightly hesitantly. "It's because I didn't think carefully, I made you laugh. It's human nature, it's okay." The steward smiled, turned around and got into the car. The bodyguards next to him also got into the car one after another. The engine started, and the car quickly drove away. In a daze, Wei Yuan saw the little goldfish in the car looking back at him. Just a glance. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 1693. After sending away the little goldfish, only Wei Yuran and Huang Ming were left at home. The two looked at each other speechlessly. I don't know if I can come back before the Chinese New Year. Huang Ming sighed melancholy, and saw Wei Yuran sitting in the living room in a daze, walked over and patted him on the shoulder. Don't think about it, I know you don't want to part with it, but no matter how much you don't, can you still fight against Master Huo? Be a man, the most important thing is to be interesting, to take the initiative to send it over, and to be forced to hand it over. The result is very different. Wei Yuran listened silently. Huang Ming continued, don't blame me for speaking harshly. The little goldfish is jealous of you now because she has little knowledge and is too simple. Let her go out to see the world of flowers and flowers. The speed of a woman's change of heart can scare you. He pushed Wei Yuran and persuaded him, come on, let's go out for a drink. Wei Yuran also felt that his depression was unreasonable. He frowned, got up and went out with Huang Ming. They go to nightclubs to drink and have fun. Huang Ming only drank 2 cups with him, and went to the private gambling game downstairs to get addicted. Wei Yuran poured himself a drink, bored. Occasionally meet someone you know, come and say hello to him. He is considered well known in Xinjiang City, especially the younger generation, who know that he has Master Huo's favor, and want to get acquainted with him. It's just that Wei Yuran was not in the mood for socializing today. After chatting casually with others, he left his seat and wanted to find a private room to be quiet for a while. He paused after taking 2 steps, and felt that he was being stupid. Why did he go to a place like a nightclub to find peace? If you really want to be quiet, you might as well go home directly. He laughed at himself. Worrying about gains and losses is a sign of cowardice. If life is a little more comfortable, he will lose the courage and determination that he had before. Did Huang Ming see through his point, so he strongly agreed to send the little goldfish away? Send her to Huo Qinghong's side, and he will have no chance to hurt her again. Wei Yuran walked out of the nightclub with a heavy heart. The air outside was cold, and the ground was covered with layers of hoarfrost. A man bends over to vomit while leaning on a telephone pole, and a gorgeous woman stands by, patting the man on the back. When the other party had almost vomited, the woman helped the other party into the car and greeted, "Come play again next time." After seeing off the guests, she relaxed all over, and put away all the smiles on her face, replacing them with disgust and boredom. When he turned around again, he happened to see Wei Yuran walking out of the nightclub. Both of them were taken aback. "Xiao Yan," Wei Yuran looked at her unexpectedly, "it's almost Chinese New Year, haven't you come home yet?" He was acquainted with this woman, and when he was a rich young master, he often clicked on her platform. Later, when he was down and out, he asked her for help to meet Huo Chenghong. In Wei Yuran's heart, Xiao Yan is a rare and affectionate woman. She is not a native of Xinjiang, her hometown is far away, and her family does not know that she is doing this business in Xinjiang City. Xiao Yan smiled lightly, and replied, "Guests who are about to celebrate the Chinese New Year are more generous." Wei Yuran said, "You can never run out of money. If you've earned enough, you should get out and change jobs." How to get out? There was a smile on the corner of her mouth. "Will you marry me?" Wei Yuran was stunned. Seeing his expression, Xiao Yan's smile became wider and colder. "Never thought of marrying me, did you?" she laughed. "I was the one who was abrupt. I drank a little too much today and said strange things. Mr. Wei, please don't take offense." After speaking, pass by. Something flashed through Wei Yuran's mind. He grabbed her suddenly, and explained, "Xiao Yan, if I did something that misunderstood you, I apologize to you." "No need," she interrupted him, turned around, without changing her smile. "In your heart, I'm just a young lady with a close relationship, right? Can you tell me, do you see me as a woman? A woman who can talk about marriage, even once? Has it ever happened?" Wei Yuan looked at her blankly, not understanding why she suddenly said this. Seeing this, Xiao Yan smiled, took a step closer, and whispered in his ear, Wei Yuan, you used to be mud, and now, you will be mud. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1694. In the field of entertainment, it is taboo to be emotional. No matter how tempted you are, you have to hold back, and then tell yourself in your heart, it's all fake, it's all fake, it's all fake. Only real money in a man's wallet is real. Xiao Yan knew very well. She could just laugh off the sweet words of the son and brother, and didn't care at all, precisely because she knew how far apart she was from them. No hope, no disappointment. When Wei Yuan had his fingers chopped off, his legs were broken, and he was down and out like a stray dog, she seemed to see him fall from that lofty position. It fell badly, but at the same time it was close to her, so close that she saw hope. She thought that she was different from Wei Yuan, otherwise why would she ask her for help? Give her a gift alone? Trust her alone? Pity. After sending charcoal in the snow, she didn't wait for the man's touch or admiration, only some words of thanks and money. Xiao Yan sat down at the bar, took a sip of wine, and muttered, "Smelly man." The bartender asked her with a playful smile, "Hey, Miss Xiao Yan, who made you drink away your worries?" "It's not about worrying, it's because it's boring. You think people like you, but in fact they don't even treat you as a human being." Xiao Yan, discouraged, shook her head and said, "Forget it, I don't want him anymore." After that, she never thought about Wei Yuan again. At night, the little goldfish lay on the bed, quietly listening to the sound of the waves in the distance. The feeling of living on the island is very novel, the color of the sky, the lush vegetation, the fresh fish and shrimp, and the magnificent sea, everything surprised her. Huo Chenghong was really good to her. But she felt that Wei Yuan was better. The clothes were unbuttoned, and the man was kissing her body gently. When the lips fell on the skin, it felt warm and slightly itchy. She was well behaved and motionless. "I don't know how to react, so just let him be happy. If he is happy, Wei Yuan and Huang Ming will be happy too." However, Huo Chenghong was not an impatient person, and it was difficult for him to get excited about an unresponsive corpse, so he stopped and lay down beside her with his head propped up. He stretched out his hand to twist a strand of long hair, circled it with his fingers, and played with it leisurely. The little goldfish blinked, and looked at him inexplicably, with innocent eyes as if asking, "Why did you stop?" Huo Chenghong laughed, pinched the strand of hair in his hand, and swept it across her face. "What are you thinking?" The little goldfish's eyes widened slightly, thinking, "How does he know that I am thinking about something? Awesome. No wonder everyone is afraid of him." Thinking of this in my heart, the words also slipped out of my mouth, "Master Huo, you are so powerful, nothing can stop you, right?" Huo Chenghong said with a smile, "Not necessarily, it depends on the specific matter." The little goldfish struggled silently for a while, and asked him, "Master Huo, you like me now, do you like me a little bit, or a lot?" This question is new to Huo Chenghong. He smiled and said, "It's a bit." "What's the difference between the two?" she continued to ask. Huo Chenghong said, "If I like a woman, I can give her money. If I like a woman very much, I can give her my life." As if realizing something, the little goldfish murmured, "Is that so?" Huo Chenghong wrapped her in his arms and asked in a low voice, "What about you? Little thing?" She was very embarrassed, and after thinking for a long time, she answered seriously, "Master Huo, I have no money, I want to leave my life to others. Huo Chenghong narrowed his eyes slightly. Wei Yuan. She nodded. Silly girl, he gave you to me, and you still want to give him your life. That's because he only likes me a little bit, little goldfish said. When he likes me very much, he will be reluctant to send me away. Huo Chenghong was silent for a moment, raised his hand to caress her hair, and said, okay, then just wait. You wait. I'll post pictures when the butterflies hatch. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1695. In the first few days after little goldfish left, Wei Yuan felt uneasy from time to time. When eating, I couldn't help but think, what if she eats a bad stomach on the island? Huo Chenghong will definitely invite a doctor to treat her. Will the doctor notice the abnormality of the little goldfish? While walking, I thought again, when I go to the island, I will inevitably have to play around to see the scenery. She can't walk a few steps, what should I do if my feet hurt? If I had known this, I should have asked her to bring her wheelchair with her when she set off. When he was sleeping, he tossed and turned, uncontrollably thinking of the situation of her and the man in the bed. His headache was splitting. The more he thought about it, the more nuanced it became, the messy hair, the backlogged skin, the trembling eyelashes, the tender red, the breath from the lips, and there, what will it taste like there? Boom. The brain buzzed. Wei Yuan suddenly sat up from the bed, gasping for breath. For no reason, I remembered Xiao Yan's cold question when she left, do you see me as a woman? A woman who can talk about marriage, even once, has there ever been one? No. Not once. This is true of Xiao Yan, and so is little goldfish. Even if they share the same bed countless times, he just treats her like a fish. It was only now that Wei Yuan realized that she had become Huo Chenghong's woman. What was the reason for his recent stagnation and loneliness? Wei Yuan supported his head and closed his eyes in pain. It shouldn't be like this. She is just a fish, an angel fish, caught by Grandpa. On New Year's Eve, Wei Yuan and Huang Ming had a New Year's Eve dinner together. The New Year's Eve dinner was very rich, but the atmosphere was deserted, and both of them felt that it was boring. Huang Mingxiu was thinking of his relatives in his hometown, feeling depressed, and drank one glass after another of the wine in hand. Wei Yuan drinks with him. He's a good drinker, and for some reason he's extra drunk tonight. Intermittent singing came from my ears. It was Huang Ming who was insane from alcohol. The singing is particularly ugly. I can't speak clearly, the local accent is very strong, and the tone is also chaotic. However, when Huang Ming sang it, it was probably not for anyone to listen to, but just to relieve and vent after being away from home for too long. Wei Yuan silently held his wine glass, thinking of his relatives. The members of the Wei family are thin, and even during Chinese New Year and holidays, when the family eats together, one table cannot be filled. However, no matter how few people there are, it will be more lively than it is now. No matter how few people are, the heart will not be as cold as it is now. Speaking of which, he seemed to have not seen them for a long time. You should also check it out. The next day was a rare sunny day. Wei Yuan packed himself up, bought joss sticks and paper money, and went out to visit the grave. The tombstones of the Wei family were all in one place. He stood at one end and looked at the other. The rows of grey tombstones were cold and quiet, with his familiar names engraved on them. Father, mother, grandpa, grandma, great-grandfather and great-grandmother, and grandpa's brothers and sisters. At that time, the world was not peaceful, there were wars everywhere, and every family died. Only the grandfather survived in the Wei family. Based on Xinjiang, he expanded the family business left by his grandfather, and then married a wife and had children. Wei Yuan's eyes fell on the tombstone of his grandfather. There is a black and white photo of Grandpa on it, the name and date, and there is a line of small characters next to the name, Zizin. He stared at those 3 words for a long time, then looked away, and looked at both sides of the tombstone. When he thought of all his blood relatives here, but he was the only one left, the indescribable feeling of loneliness almost overwhelmed him. This feeling is too depressing. Wei Yuran didn't stay in the cemetery for too long. After burning the joss sticks and paper money, he left by car. Children who set off firecrackers ran past the roadside from time to time, people put on new clothes, and carried New Year's gifts around to pay New Year's greetings. Everyone's face was beaming. He couldn't help being envious. What exactly do you envy, but can't say? The driver in front suddenly said, "Huh?" It seemed like Miss Jane just now. Wei Yuran was slightly taken aback, and turned his head to look around. The car had already driven away, and pedestrians with large and small bags blocked their view, and they didn't even see the license plate number clearly. "You read it wrong, she is not in Xinjiang now," he said. "Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1696. The little goldfish was with Huo Chenghong on the island. How could it be possible to appear in Xinjiang? Wei Yuran didn't care. After returning home, he found that there were many gift boxes piled up in the living room, and Huang Ming was sitting on the sofa unpacking them all, with a smile on his face. "Who sent it?" Wei Yuran asked while taking off his coat. "Why didn't you say hello in advance when you come to visit the New Year?" "The little goldfish is back," Huang Ming happily replied. "Look, they are all special gifts brought to us from the island. You really have a conscience, you didn't hurt her for nothing." Wei Yuran was surprised, and looked into the room. "Where is she?" "I went to look for you." Huang Ming picked up the Huanghuali bracelet in the gift box and put it on his wrist to admire. "I said you went to visit the grave, and she put down the gift and went to the cemetery to find you. I guess you just missed it on the way." Wei Yuran's expression suddenly changed. "You said, she went to the cemetery." "Yeah, what's the matter?" Huang Ming heard that his tone was wrong, and looked up at Wei Yuran. Wei Yuran's face was extremely ugly. Huang Ming was muttering what was wrong with him, when he suddenly realized something. His expression froze. I didn't expect that. When she asked me, I just said it. I didn't mean it." Zion is Wei Yuran's grandfather. Huang Ming only recently found out about this. "If the little goldfish sees the tombstone, I'm afraid the paper can't wrap the fire." Huang Ming stammered and said, She may not know how to read the tombstone, right? If I can't find you, maybe I will come back. Even if I read the tombstone, she can't read, right?" "Right. But there are photos on the tombstone," Wei Yuran replied in a deep voice. Why the little goldfish mistook him for his grandfather is unknown. Wei Yuran's guess is that she has a slow sense of time, and her ability to recognize human faces is also limited. Just like when humans distinguish between two similar fish, it is easy to make mistakes. This is just speculation, not sure. Even if it is easy to admit mistakes, what about after seeing the photo of Grandpa? Will she react to this? Will it suddenly dawn on you? And then? What will happen to her after she finds out that she has been cheated? If it was before, he was afraid that she would run away. But now, there is Huo Chenghong behind her. Wei Yuran grabbed his coat and quickly walked out of the gate. He didn't dare to test Xiao Jinyu's feelings for him, because this feeling was based on deceit. When she was angry, would she use Huo Chenghong's ability to suppress and revenge him? Wei Yuran didn't dare to take the risk. Huang Ming didn't even bother to unwrap the presents, so he hurriedly ran out. As soon as he went out, he faced a biting cold wind. Huang Ming shivered, and ran back into the house to get dressed tremblingly. When he came out again, he found that Wei Yuran had already left in the car. Wei Yuran walked in a hurry, didn't call the driver, and drove straight to the cemetery by himself. On the way there, he was lucky, maybe nothing happened, and the little goldfish's confused character might not notice the details on the tombstone. But thinking about how much she valued him, Wei Yuren's heart sank even more. I would, if little goldfish knew that he was going to sweep the grave, she would definitely care about who he was sweeping and who the owner of the tomb was. Even if she couldn't read, she would find a way to ask the answer. The more Wei Yuren thought about it, the more confused he became. As soon as I arrived at the cemetery, I saw the little goldfish coming out of the cemetery, and the bodyguard beside her held an umbrella for her to block the cold sunlight in winter. Wei Yuren got out of the car and walked towards her. Seeing her blank expression, he knew something was wrong, very bad. Today's update is late, the child is crying, I am going to provide maternal love. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1697. It took only 20 steps to walk towards her. During the 20-odd steps, Wei Yuren's brain was like water pouring into an oil pan. The oil and water splashed, and the intense pain was accompanied by burning pain. He quickly thought of one plan after another, but was rejected one after another. How to do? Already close at hand, language has no way to organize. How to do? In the end, how to do? Your back. Wei Yuren stood in front of the little goldfish and said in a low voice. The little goldfish stared at him blankly. After a while, she opened her mouth slightly, and then closed it again, as if she was about to speak. Wei Yuren knew what she wanted to ask. He looked at the bodyguard on the side. It was obviously not the place to talk. Just came back, you must be very tired. Wei Yuren stared into the little goldfish's eyes, speaking very slowly, go home and rest, just tell me and Brother Ming what is special about the island. The little goldfish slowly closed its eyes, and some emotions calmed down. She shook her head slightly, no. Master Huo has already arranged a place for me. Wei Yuren was stunned. The bodyguard on the side explained, Miss Jin will move to Lord Huo's manor, Mr. Wei doesn't have to worry. Since she is Huo Qinchong's woman, she naturally lives in Huo Qinchong's place. How could she go back to her original place and live with two irrelevant men? Wei Yuren felt like a fool for forgetting such a simple truth. He watched little goldfish walk past him. The bodyguard opened the car door for her. She bent down to get into the car, closed the door, and the car left, farther and farther away. In the end, he still didn't speak. After Wei Yuren returned home, Huang Ming stretched his neck to look behind him, and asked anxiously, where is the little goldfish? Where is she? Why didn't you come back with you? Are you really mad at her? She lives in Master Huo's house, he replied. Huang Ming was stunned. His expression was similar to his reaction when he first heard this. That's right, she should live with Master Huo. Huang Ming murmured, and then looked at Wei Yuren. Did she find out? When you saw her, did you explain to her? She was what expression? Wei Yuren walked to the sofa and sat down, lit a cigarette, but said nothing. Huang Ming leaned over, feeling a little flustered. She knows. She didn't say anything. Wei Yuren took a deep breath of the cigarette and exhaled it. His expression became more gloomy and irritable. But she should know. Then what should I do? Huang Ming's voice suddenly rose. Does she think that I am also an accomplice? I only found out about this recently. What a pity that I will be killed by you. Wei Yuren lowered his head and smoked, without saying a word. Seeing his appearance, Huang Ming realized that his words just now were inappropriate, so he put away his excitement, sat next to Wei Yuren, and lit a cigarette, as if he was in need. The two sat in the living room and smoked. After a long time, Huang Ming said again, anyway, you have to give her an explanation for this matter. If she blows pillow wind or something in Master Huo's ear, we don't even know how to die. Well, I'm not saying that little goldfish must be that kind of person, but, even if she cares about her old feelings and doesn't bother with you, Master Huo is still there. If Master Huo wants to vent her anger for her, can you stop him? If you said you didn't do it on purpose, who would believe it? Would the little goldfish believe it? She is an angel fish. You lied to me because you have ulterior motives. She won't believe you. Give me the key to your house, Wei Yuran said suddenly. What? Huang Ming was taken aback. Wei Yuran raised his head and repeated again, you used to rent out the house key, I'll go get something. Oh. Huang Ming was puzzled, found the key and handed it to Wei Yuran. What are you going to do about the little goldfish? Wei Yuran didn't answer, took the key and left again. Good night. It is expected to be 190W at the end of all, but unfortunately, I originally wanted to make up 200W, alas. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1698. Wei Yuran went to Huang Ming's rented house and dug out the diary he had previously hidden under the bed. 6 thick diaries record the bizarre life of Mrs. Wei, and the last 3 are almost all related to angelfish. The lines are full of emotion, which shows that he has devoted all his efforts to the pursuit of angelfish. Wei Yuran took the diary back, and read through the next 3 diaries again, until all the content was clear and confident. He got up and called Huo Qinghong's manager. Ironically, people who used to be together every day now want to meet, but they have to communicate through others. He stated on the phone that he wanted to visit, but the steward said that Miss Jin had just returned today and was tired from the journey, so Wei Yuran said that he would go back tomorrow, so he agreed on a time and ended the call. The anxiety in my heart eased a little. He didn't refuse to meet him, which meant that little goldfish didn't resist meeting him. Wei Yuran went back with the diary in his arms. Huang Ming grabbed him again and said, you must explain clearly to her, this matter has nothing to do with me, as the eldest brother, I have never lied to her. Huang Ming felt wronged. He was originally timid and fearful, and the other party was a big man like Huo Chenghong. Wei Yuran could understand if he wanted to separate the relationship. Wei Yuran nodded, and replied in a deep voice, I won't implicate you. The next day he went to Huo Qinghong's manor. The manor occupies a large area. After the car drove through the tall and towering gate, it continued to drive for a few minutes before reaching the front hall. A well-dressed manservant leads the way for him. The marble texture under his feet is gorgeous, and the surrounding decoration is also noble and elegant. Wei Yuran looked out of the window. Even in winter, the evergreen is still lush. The sound of the piano came from the front, intermittent and incoherent syllables sounded intermittently. Although a movement could not be played, the timbre was beautiful and light, which showed that the piano used was of great value. Walking into the side hall, Wei Yuran saw little goldfish sitting by the piano. She was wearing a lotus-colored dress, and her light brown hair was soft and loose. A female teacher was standing beside her, teaching her to practice fingering. Let's practice here today. Thank you, little goldfish said. The female teacher left the side hall and walked out without looking sideways. Wei Yuran turned his head and looked. The little goldfish said, she is the music teacher hired by Master Huo. Wei Yuran turned his head, oh, Master Huo is very kind to you. Yes, she smiled slightly and repeated what he said, Master Huo is very good to me. The atmosphere was inexplicably cold, and neither of them seemed to know what to talk about. The servant brought tea and snacks. Let the little goldfish retreat, and only he and her are left here. Wei Yuran finally opened his mouth, when you went to the cemetery, you saw it? Xiao Jinyu responded, staring down at his toes, with no expression on his face, I see. I misidentified the person, and I have caused you trouble for so long. Wei Yuan felt suffocated. Even if little goldfish didn't vent his anger, resentment, or blame, he still felt pain. The man she loves is called Zion, the man she is with is called Huo Chenghong, and he is a completely irrelevant person. Without this bondage, there is nothing between him and her. Nothing. Wei Yuan raised the corners of his mouth, his smile was a little stiff, he pretended to be nonchalant and said, "What's the trouble? Grandpa told me to take good care of you when he passed away, but I kept it from you, I'm very sorry." After hearing this, little goldfish's eyes flickered slightly. When he died, did he remember me? Yes, he values you very much. Wei Yuan took out his diary and said to her, "Look, the diary he wrote is all about you, otherwise, I wouldn't be so clear about your affairs. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1699. Little Goldfish has a deep affection for the old Mrs. Wei. When she opened the diary, she saw the handwriting of Zion, and her eyes slowly turned red. "Are these, all about me?" she asked softly. Wei Yuan nodded and pointed to her. "This is the date, this is your name, you see, this is the first time you have met. He heard about the angelfish, he traveled thousands of miles to find you, and traveled a long distance, encountered poisonous insects and ferocious beasts in the mountains, almost fell off the cliff several times, and finally found you in a deep pool in a mountain stream." There were faint tears in the little goldfish's eyes, but the corners of his mouth were smiling. "It's hard, it's like a fairy tale." Wei Yuan also smiled. "That's right, the prince climbed mountains and waded through rivers, went through hardships and obstacles, and finally rescued the beautiful princess from the evil dragon." Turning over a page, he pointed to the diary and said, "Look, it says here that there are 2 boa constrictors wandering outside the mountain stream. The members of the expedition team were attacked. Fortunately, the weapons and equipment they brought were complete and the rescue was timely. Those 2 snakes are scary." The little goldfish wiped away tears, and complained together with him, "They always want to eat me, so I don't dare to come out to bask in the sun, I can only hide in the mud at the bottom of the water, it's really annoying." Wei Yuan recalled her situation at that time, felt that the world was wonderful, and also felt lucky that she was safe and sound. "What else is written next?" she asked again. "Later." Wei Yuan came back to his senses, and turned a few pages later. "I will write about how to bring you home." He was worried that you would not adapt to the water quality outside, so the expedition team pretended to be from the pool where you lived. Many water roads, because the load is too large, everyone has to leave expensive equipment, and even some necessary living supplies. In order to take you out of the mountain, he and the expedition team have suffered a lot." The little goldfish was very moved when he heard this, and the expression on his face softened unknowingly. Wei Yuan read slowly. "After returning home, I mixed half a cup of lake water into the fish tank every day to help it adapt to the water quality. I didn't dare to put it in the garden until the water quality in the fish tank was almost the same as that of the nearby lake water. In a pond full of lake water, it is very shy and does not appear easily. I often walk around to see if it has adapted to the new home. I found that it prefers white orchids. The branches of the white orchid tree extend above the water. It likes to hide underneath, like a lady's white silk parasol." Wei Yuan turned over page after page, slowly reading out bits and pieces of the diary. "I have never seen such a petite and lovely fish. It is very smart. After being familiar with my footsteps, as soon as it hears me coming, it will surface and spit out a series of bubbles, like a silent welcome. I go to see it when I have nothing to do, it is so carefree. When I see it, I forget all my worries." The little goldfish was fascinated. Wei Yuan's voice became lower and lower. In fact, there is no old love in the past, but he took advantage of the topic, added a little imagination. a little beautification, and a little bit of his own true feelings and real feelings. At the end of the reading, Wei Yuan himself was in a daze, not knowing whether this big lie was deceiving her or him. "Why don't you read it?" little goldfish was still thinking, and turned the last page for him. "Here. What is written?" Wei Yuan looked at the words on the paper, in a trance. "What is written here is." He fell silent. The little goldfish was puzzled and fixedly looked at him. "It's written." Wei Yuan paused for a moment, and then read, "Recently, my health has been deteriorating, and I haven't been to the pond for a few days. I don't know if it will miss me, if I can't get sick, and my children and grandchildren are weak, I don't know. Who can take care of it for me? I have done nothing in this life, and the only thing I can be proud of is this angelfish. She is my most precious treasure." The little goldfish closed his eyes, tears streaming down his face. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life. Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1700. She cried. Wei Yuan closed the diary, trying to wipe away her tears. This is not a place to entertain guests. Apart from tea and snacks, there is only a sheet of music on the tea table and no paper towels. He got up to find the servant, came back with a tissue, and comforted her. "Don't cry, as long as you live well now, that's enough." The little goldfish stopped crying and nodded slightly. The rift between the two seemed to disappear, and a sense of intimacy was restored. There were footsteps outside, and the servant called respectfully, "Mr. is back." Wei Yuan hurriedly got up, turned his head to look, and saw Huo Chenghong walking towards him. "Master Huo." Wei Yuan lowered his waist slightly. Huo Chenghong seemed to be in a good mood, and joked, "Come here so early to pay New Year's greetings, do you want red envelopes again?" At the end of the year, the auction house had already distributed red envelopes. Huo Chenghong has always been generous to his subordinates. Wei Yuan smiled and said, "I know Huo Ye is back, but I haven't had time to give you New Year's greetings. Today, I specially brought the New Year's gift here. By the way, I will take a look at Xiao. I want to see Miss Jin." "You should take a look." With a smile on the corner of his mouth, Huo Chenghong walked up to the little goldfish, bowed his head and kissed her forehead, with a doting tone. After 2 or 3 days of being fresh on the island, he clamored to come back, saying he was afraid she's tanned. "Can you see if she's tanned?" The little goldfish was a little embarrassed, and whispered, "It's really tanned, don't you get tanned too?" "You are not afraid of the dark, but I am afraid that you will become ugly." Huo Chenghong laughed, touched her little face, and asked, "How did you learn today?" "Well, I like it very much," little goldfish said happily with his eyes curved. "The teacher said that I am very talented." The atmosphere between the two was harmonious, while Wei Yuan stood aside and looked out of place. He suddenly felt embarrassed, like a dingy mouse. Even if he puts on new clothes and lives in a new house, it still casts a downcast shadow when standing in the sun. Because Huo Chenghong's brilliance is too bright, he is compared with him, and also because when he faces the little goldfish, he can't be upright, always harboring an ulterior secret darkness, despicableness, and contempt. Wei Yuan tried his best to make his expression look natural. "Master Huo, I'll take my leave first, and I'll come to trouble you another day." Huo Chenghong nodded with a smile. "Okay, it's rare for you to be free, take a good rest these few days, the auction house will have to work hard for you after the year." Wei Yuan said humbly that it was his job. Huo Chenghong then ordered his servants to send Wei Yuan out. When walking out, Wei Yuan vaguely heard the little goldfish's laughter. He held back and didn't look back, thinking, "She really likes him." What Huang Ming said was right, she liked herself because of Ziyan. If he wasn't Ziyan, he would be nothing. Huo Chenghong is more mature than him, richer than him, and 100 times better than him. Isn't it a matter of course that the little goldfish would like Huo Chenghong? Why bother? Never mind. Wei Yuan left the manor with the diary in his arms, feeling dizzy. He didn't notice that the last page of the diary disappeared. The little goldfish held the page and asked Huo Chenghong, "Master Huo, read it for me, what is written on the paper?" "What is it?" Huo Chenghong glanced at her, and asked her with a smile, bringed by Wei Yuan. "I'm curious and want to know what's written on it, why don't you read it aloud?" the little goldfish begged softly. Huo Chenghong smiled, followed her, and read it literally. After finishing the reading, I looked at the little goldfish, and saw that her expression was frozen, and her face was already white. "What's wrong?" Huo Chenghong asked. "What's wrong?" She was in a daze, and it took her a long time to come back to her senses. I'm going to the bathroom." Turning around and walking in the direction of the bathroom, walking slowly, staggering, every step seemed extremely difficult. Huo Chenghong frowned, silently watching her back. "Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1701. The little goldfish turned the faucet to the maximum, so that the sound of the running water was isolated from all outside sounds. She leaned on the bathtub and squatted down slowly. Her eyes turned black and her body trembled. Anger or sadness are not enough to describe her mood, as if a sledgehammer appeared in the air and smashed her heart into pieces. It was a bone-deep injury, a pain that pierced through the skin. She has been looking forward to it for so long, so long. What is it for? Fish eyes, soaked in medicinal wine. Fish bones, grind into powder to make pills. Fish scales, add water and cook over high heat, then simmer slowly to remove impurities, still condensed into a jelly, can be used as soup, or can be eaten cold with sugar and mint oil. She actually mistook hunting and captive breeding for kindness and love. It turned out that the beautiful crystal palace was the cage where she was imprisoned, and his eager gaze stemmed from the desire to eat meat and drink blood. Can't think about it? The more I think about it, the more heart-piercing I get. She felt cold, her tears kept flowing, her body seemed to have fallen into an ice cave, and she trembled uncontrollably. Most of the water in the bathtub has been filled. She slowly lay down and let herself be submerged in the water. Then, it was no longer cold, and she no longer shed tears. She opened her eyes in the water, quietly watching the waves, and felt that she was, it seems to be, living in a dream. She is indeed living a dream. Living in the fairy tale Wei Yuan fabricated for her. Now, it's time to wake up. Since then, there is no more Zion in this world. Her lover exists only in dreams. As for dreamers, she thought for a long time and felt that she should thank him. Because, after all, it's a sweet dream, isn't it? Little goldfish put on a bathrobe and came out of the bathroom. Huo Chenghong was waiting for her outside the door. Seeing that the little goldfish was wet, he raised his eyebrows suspiciously, and his eyes fixed on her slightly red eyes. Huo Chenghong pushed back a lock of wet hair from her neck, and asked in a low voice, "Are you all right?" The little goldfish smiled slightly, "Well, it's all right." Huo Chenghong looked into her eyes, "It's fine." Years later, the celebrities and aristocratic families in Xinjiang City competed to hold a spring banquet. At the banquet, everyone frequently mentioned the new love of the patriarch of the Huo family. It is said that the girl is young and beautiful, and she is born with a good voice, and her singing can make people intoxicated. Huo Chenghong suffers from insomnia every night. He has to listen to her singing to fall asleep. He loves her so much, he can't do without her. Not long after, as if to prove this, Huo Chenghong hosted a birthday banquet in the manor. Celebrities from all walks of life came to congratulate. The little goldfish sang a song in public. The sound was like the sound of nature, and many guests were astonished as heaven. The next day, the concert at the banquet was on the news, and even the professors of the National Conservatory of Music were alarmed. They sent an invitation letter, praising Little Goldfish's unimaginable talent, and the Academy was willing to do its best to cultivate it, and exempted all tuition and miscellaneous fees. Xiao Jinyu politely declined, saying that she only sang for Huo Chenghong alone. Everyone was in an uproar. The music professor persevered, and was rejected one after another. The professor was furious, and published a newspaper to criticize Huo Chenghong, saying that he had harmed the country's precious talents. The news made a lot of noise, but Huo Chenghong ignored it, and the little goldfish also withdrew from the public's sight, rarely showing his face. Some people can't forget her singing, but they can't help it. Who dares to force Huo Chenghong's woman to sing? And Wei Yuran and Huang Ming also unknowingly rose to the top, and their status became more and more distinguished. They got bigger houses, better cars, and better errands. Huo Chenghong handed over nearly half of the entertainment city's business to Wei Yuran, giving him full trust. Wei Yuran has become a hot celebrity in Xinjiang City. Many things, without him needing to be asked, are offered in front of him graciously. For example, the old house of the Wei family, such as the company that the Wei family has been remodeled. These were all the things he wanted the most, and now he finally got them back, but there was no disturbance in his heart. Only in my heart do I vaguely know what I'm waiting for.